Join us, leave your cheese to sour. Join us, come and waste an hour or two. We've got magic to do just for you and you and you and you and you. Good evening and welcome to Studio Tenn Talks. I am Patrick Cassidy. I am the artistic director for Studio Tenn, and I'm so excited to be here. We have two incredible guests, but first I just want to tell you, on August 27th, we are having our virtual variety show. Now, this is going to be an incredible evening. I'm going to get a chance to host and have all these different incredible performers from Los Angeles, here in Tennessee. Megan Murphy Chambers is on. There's one. Patrick Thomas is another, plus all these other specialty acts that we're going to be bringing on. It's going to be an incredible night, and you can buy tickets to that. Our donors, our board members, you can all get tickets to that. It is a way for us, Studio Tenn, to garner some income while we're here. Remember, we produce shows and we take donations. Right now, we can't produce shows, but we are producing this. We have that, and we have a special thing that I can't talk about on the show tonight, but I'm going to talk about it next week. It's coming up. But before that, we're going to start with an incredible guest tonight. Becky Baker is a director here in Tennessee. She directed for Nashville Repertory Theater, Blackbird Theater Company, as well as for the Nashville Shakespeare Festival, where she served as education director from 2010 to 2012. She directed Broadway star Eden Espinosa in Tarzan for the National Association of Music Education, as well as Tony Award nominee Elizabeth A. Davis in Tomorrow at Table Rock Repertory Theater. She is also, she is the chair of Lipscomb University's Department of Theater. She's the chair. Oh, we got to talk about that, Becky, where she has produced and directed shows for several years. And Becky recently received Broadway World Best Director for, let me see, hold on. She received Broadway World Best Director nominations for Julius Caesar and Pride's Coming, as well as the Kennedy Center American College Theater Festival's Excellent in Direction Awards for Dancing at Lunisa and The Crucible. But, and I do believe this is the last thing I'm going to ask her, the last production she directed, I think, before we went viral here, was Studio Tenn's production of Steel Magnolias. Please welcome Becky Baker.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
So first of all, was I right about that? Was the last production you did before we went quarantine, was it our production?
Yes, and I'm so grateful that we got it in before all this happened, because it was so special.
It was. We're gonna show some pictures. I want to talk first though about what I was saying about you're the chair. Now let me tell you something. I know what the chair's responsibility is at colleges. It's massive. How did you find yourself in that position at an incredible university? Lipscomb is amazing. How did that come to be?
I'll tell you, it was a wild trip that happened. I mean, I actually was an adjunct professor here for a couple of years. And, I didn't think there was ever going to be a full-time position for me. And so I was starting to look at the exit door and think about what the next steps were. And things just worked out. Providence worked it out for me to be hired here full-time as the chair. So this was the position open. So I said, yes, let's do it. So.
And what are the responsibilities in one day as the chair? What do you have to do?
It's not unlike an artistic director in that I'm producing all of the shows here. So I'm making sure we're staying on budgets, that we have production teams, that the shows are happening the way that they need to happen. And also I'm managing the academic experience. So I'm planning our semester schedules, making sure everybody has what they need, and teaching classes. I also teach. So every day is an adventure.
You wear a lot of hats. Jennifer just chimed in and said the brilliant Becky Baker. We're going to have Jennifer on this show too. So
I love her.
She is brilliant as well. Yeah, I've gotten to direct. I've had a pleasure to direct at many universities and teach there too. And the chair position, I'm in awe of that. So kudos to you being able to juggle all those hats. That's hard.
Yeah.
Good for you. I want to talk about Steel Magnolias, because for me, you know, it was our last production too before we went quarantined, and it was my second production to sort of kind of oversee as artistic director and watch you and watch those incredible 6 women work. They were just amazing. What was the experience like for you?
Oh, it was a dream. I mean, from beginning to end, working with the production team at Studio Tenn, and then working with these 6 actresses. I mean, every moment was special, and we really bonded, and it was really fun to you know, bring new voices to it, and bring this to the audiences, and they seem to really enjoy it. So
yeah, we're showing those. Do you see those? We're showing
yes. Oh, it brings back
those
so
ladies
many
are
memories.
so good. And there's Megan. She's going to be doing our virtual variety
Yes.
show. And yeah, you did such a superlative job. I mean, look, the show is beautifully directed by Becky Baker, a delightful comedy with heartfelt tears. The audience feels like they're watching. I didn't see the last part, but it was astounding. And those women, the work they did. I mean, you know, February, from what I understand, has been usually a tough time slot in terms of getting people. Well, they came out in droves for that, and it was because of your direction and those women.
It was an incredible experience, and I'm so glad so many people got to enjoy it. And you know, just to amplify women's voices in the entire season was a great choice. So.
Oh yeah, tell me, what's your process as a director? What do you try to create? What do you like to do with actors? Tell me.
I believe that creativity flourishes when people feel safe. And so I try to create a really safe environment where we feel like we're working as a team, that we can try things together, that we can create together. I believe excellent process drives excellent product. So I want to make sure that it's not just about the end game of the show, but that the entire experience is strong for everybody, because I believe that helps the product in the end. And ultimately, you know, none of us are making so much money that that all it is about the product. It's really about our heart, and, you know, being in this for the long game.
I don't think anybody in the history of the theater went into the theater because it was about the money. You know?
Probably, if they did, they maybe did something else.
That's exactly right. But the creativeness and the art and the ability to work with, I mean, you know, I say this too as a director. When you get that chance, or as a teacher, and you get to work with really talented people, there's nothing like that.
It's so true. They bring so much to the room, and then it all sorts to sort of synergize and flow together. And these 6 women in Steel Magnolias really proved that. They came together and really built this in a very fluid and fun and exciting way. So.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah. I want to talk about a show that I have never seen.
Okay.
And yet your production of it here in Tennessee was hailed, and that was Bright Star. Now, Bright Star is written by Steve Martin. Is that correct?
Yes. Steve Martin and Edie Brickell wrote it. It's a bluegrass musical, so it's sort of unique in that way. And it is truly a beautiful show. I hope that you get to experience it sometime.
We have production photos from that. Tell me, what is the show about?
So this is sort of a made-up story that Steve Martin, he had read an article about a baby who had been thrown off of a train and survived. It was like put in a bag and sort of thrown off a train. And these people had adopted it and raised it. And so this is sort of his imagination taking on that story. So it is ultimately a story about redemption and forgiveness and tenacity, and it's really just such a beautiful show, and the characters are so tremendous. It's got lots of comedy. It's got that Steve Martin kind of quality to it.
Really?
but it is not a full comedy. I mean, it really is a drama and has so much heart.
And you said it's a bluegrass musical. It's funny, you know, I did a show. It's not done. It's never done, or very rarely done, Although no, actually, I take that back. They did a production at the Roundabout about 5 years ago. There's a show called The Robber Bridegroom. Do you know that show? Are you
I've heard
familiar?
of it, but I don't know it.
It's a show. It says the Lipscomb production of Bright Star was stunning, so moving, and expertly
Denise.
presented by Denise Hicks. Denise was on the show last week.
I know.
She was awesome.
She's my queen.
She is, yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, yeah, it's a anyway. The Robert Bridegroom was a bluegrass musical. In fact, Patti LuPone and Kevin Kline did it right. They were in the John Houseman Company out of Juilliard, and that was the first show they did together.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm going to actually, because Patty's doing the show, I'm going to talk to her about that but I remember, and I got to do it in summer stock, and it's an incredible. I mean, Alfred Urey wrote the book, and it's bluegrass, it's fiddles and banjos and the whole bit. And is that the kind of musicians you had on stage, or were they on the stage or were they off the stage?
Yes, they were on the stage because the music is central to the story, and having the musicians on the stage, that's what they did in the Broadway version as well. And I thought it was so special because they're such an important part of the music. So that we had professionals come in and play, and boy, they were tremendous. And bluegrass is so people in the South should be doing shows that have that bluegrass quality and that Southern quality, because this is part of the heritage here.
I couldn't agree more. Can you tell me a musical? I was going through this the other day that is all country music. Can you think of a musical that's all country music? I can't think of one. I was like racking my brain the other day. I was like, I mean, I know Dolly wrote, 9 to 5, and I'm thinking, did Reba write anything? Did anybody, write literally a all country musical?
Maybe the Johnny Cash musical, Ring of Fire.
Ring of Fire.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh.
I mean, it's all Johnny Cash, I think.
Yeah, that's true. I'll have to investigate that.
Yeah.
I want to talk about, I have not had the opportunity, I'm like chomping at the bit, to hold a casting session. Ring of Fire, yes, Tony McAllister. I have not had a chance. Oh, Jennifer, best little whorehouse in Texas. Thank you, Jen. It is to do a casting session here in Tennessee. I can't wait. It's the thing I'm the most looking forward to. Tell me about the actors in Tennessee and the singers.
Oh my goodness. Nashville, I would put Nashville against any city in the US for talent and performers. I mean, this is Music City. It's a thriving city. And, so there are tremendous performers, all ages, all different abilities, character, leads, all of it is here in Nashville. So, yeah. I can't wait for you to see what they can bring for you.
I can't wait either. And how lighting designers, sound people, what's the best way to bring even more of them there? And that's sort of the technical aspect. What would you think is the best way to get more people to get into sound, to get into set building, to get into lighting?
Are you talking about like through the education system or bringing them to Nashville?
Or just inviting them here, because Nashville is totally I believe, it's always been the epicenter of music. We talk about that all the time, but I believe it's this theater thing that's just starting to rise and it's going to explode actually, ultimately.
I hope so. I believe that. Hi, Daisha. I think just, this is a city where people can come and do a job and move on. And so, bringing people here and maybe if they do a job, they would want to continue, they might fall in love with Nashville and want to continue working here. So
those are the finders and the feelers I want to put out there, because like I said, I can't wait. I want to just, I want to utilize every single actor. I want to utilize every single sound person and every single musical director. And
Patrick, I mean, with what's gone on with the coronavirus, there are a number of people leaving some of the larger cities like New York and Chicago just for the reality of that situation. They're already coming. I'm already getting emails, as somebody working at a college, you get emails from people who are like, I'm new in your city. I'm an equity actor. I'm a Broadway actor.
Right.
I want to teach master classes with you and stuff. So I think we'll be seeing a lot of new people coming here as well.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
So of the three, of the acting, singing, and dancing, what needs to improve of the three of them? What could we look for teachers in? What could we look for?
Yeah. You can't beat singing in Nashville.
I figured that was. I don't know if you could beat singing anywhere in the world than Nashville.
And really, our actors are tremendous. So there are a number of dancers in Nashville, but we could continue training in that field. Your wife being one of those wonderful teachers, and
it's interesting too. Even in Los Angeles, I remember we would be casting shows. We were casting West Side Story. It's hard to find male dancers that are great male dancers that can sing, because if they do, they go to New York. And I remember we were constantly searching for that too. Well, the good thing is that it's here, and we can continue to cultivate it and just I can't wait. You can see I'm like a kid. I can't wait to get into a casting session and hang out with some actors.
I think you'll be amazed. Yeah.
You are tremendous. You are I just said I'll let everybody hear now. I just said to Becky, how can I sew you up right now to direct a show for us next year? I'm going to lock you in. I'm going to lock you in to do a show for us.
I'm in. Let's do it. I love it.
Thank you so much for joining us. You are terrific and so talented. Like I said, I was lucky to watch your production and watch those women work in Steel Magnolias.
Thank you so much for your help in making that happen.
You're welcome. All right, we will see you soon. Continue to watch if you want to watch Treat. He's coming on next. Thank you, Becky. She's amazing. And that production, guys, I keep harping on it. It was fantastic. Those women are each one of them fantastic actors, and Becky did a great job. All right. I am so excited about this gentleman. He is, am an idol of his. Treat Williams. Let me see. I just want to make sure I have all his stuff. Here we go. I can't even list all of Treat Williams' stuff, but I'm going to try. He's an actor, he's a writer, he's an aviator who has appeared on film and on stage and on television in over 120 things. He made his Broadway debut in Grease in 1976. We're going to talk about that. Eventually taking over the lead role of Danny Zuko. His other Broadway credits include The Pirates of Penzance, where he and I met, Love Letters, Over Here, Once in a Lifetime, and Follies. He is best known for the role as Burger in the 1979 film Hair. He was nominated for 2 Screen Actor Guild Awards for his leading role in the television series Everwood. He was also nominated for an Emmy and 3 Golden Globes for his work in film and television. Additional credits include The Pursuit of D.W. Cooper, Prince of the City, Drunk Parents, Streetcar Named Desire, The Late Shift, Chicago Fire, and Blue Bloods. I have to welcome, I can't wait to see him, Mr. Treat Williams. Yo! There he is.
How are you?
Hey, pal.
Quite a while.
Welcome. It's, by the way, that was just like a splinter of your credits. We could have been here all night, but I wanted to actually talk to you as opposed to just read about what Treat Williams has done. It's pretty astounding, your career.
Some I'd be happy you didn't mention, but
yes, we all have those. Tell me about, first of all, tell us, where are you?
I'm in Vermont. I'm in southern Vermont in a 200-year-old farmhouse. We live on what used to be a farm, and now it's a lot of property that I go out and play with every day.
That's awesome. And how long have you had this farm? Because I remember your apartment in New York years ago.
Beautiful place. We've had this place since the year we got married, which was 32 years ago, Pam and I. So we moved here from Park City after Everwood. We kept the kids in school and came here about 9 years ago, I think. And we've been here ever since. And it's been wonderful. It's been a great, great place to live. And
well,
particularly now.
Oh yeah, I would bet. Well, as you know, we spoke earlier. You know, my wife Melissa is from Manchester. She was
Oh,
born,
wow. That's right. We
born and
talked
raised. Yeah, yeah. So, and I've been there many, many times.
part of the Beatty family, as I remember.
Yeah, that's right. She, in fact, yeah. I mean, they still have. You know, her aunt owns a Morgan horse farm, and
I
they
know it
do.
well. It's literally 2 minutes from my house.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah, it is so stunning. You picked a beautiful place to live, and it says Tyler Henry says, "Yay, treat." He is my
Hi, Tyler.
absolute favorite part of the film version here. We're going to talk about here. I want to talk about first of all, and there's so much to talk about with you. I'm beyond excited. First off, tell me about. I've never asked you this. I knew that you were in Greece. I didn't realize that was your Broadway debut, but were you okay? Richard Gere played Danny Zuko. Rex Smith played Danny Zuko. Jeff Conway played Danny Zuko. Treat Williams played Danny Zuko. Barry Bostwick played Danny Zuko. Which number Zuko were you?
I think I was 3.
You were?
I think there were a couple guys that it was not working out well. But what happened was Jeff Conway came and took over for Bostwick on Broadway. Jeff came out of the National. I came in as the understudy to John Travolta and Jeff and a bunch of other guys, and I did that for about I think about about a year, and then I went into a musical that the same people produced called Over Here with the Andrews Sisters, and
Oh,
Johnny Travolta and Mary Lou Henner and a whole bunch of us went over and did that show. And after that show closed, I was kind of doing what actors do, trying to find work and trying to do this and that. And this is a great lesson for young actors. I got a call from Tommy Smith, who was a stage manager, and he said, "Would you like to take over the last 4 weeks of a bus and truck? I mean, the lowest level tour of Greece. It's like the last 4 weeks of a theater in the round somewhere down in Delaware." And I said, "I'd love to," because I only did Zuko twice, and I was terrible because I was an understudy, and you had the fear factor going. So I went down and I had 2 weeks of rehearsal, and I went down and I had a blast. And Ken Weissman and Maxine Fox came down, saw me in it, and a week later I was playing the lead on Broadway, and that lasted for 3 years. So
you did Zuko for 3 years.
I did.
Holy
But I would
smoke.
leave and do a movie, and they'd say, "Go ahead, go do the movie, and then come back to us." So I did 3 films. I did the first film was Deadly Hero with Don Murray, and then I did the Ritz. And then I did The Eagle Has Landed with Michael Caine. After that, I came back and did Grease again. I came back to Grease again. I went to Hollywood for 6 months and couldn't handle it, so I came back into Grease. And then Milos saw me in the show, and I got hair, and then I was off and running.
So that's okay. So that's what happened. Well, knowing you, you must have been extraordinary as Zuko. I never got to play that part. I always wanted to play it, and I was offered the revival, and I couldn't do it. I was unavailable, and I never got to do it. I bet you were amazing.
I think I learned. I'd done a lot of Shakespeare and a lot of theater before that, but I think I learned how to handle an audience. I learned stagecraft doing Grease, because I learned all those things, all those great stars that we all watched, like Burt Lahr and all the great Broadway stars of the 30s and 40s, who really understood timing and really understood comedy. And I think that was a cast that was really committed to making that show wonderful every night. And I think you really learned a lot about stagecraft doing the same show, and how to handle a long run. Handling a long run is a very difficult thing to do. And I think it was a great lesson for me, and how to trying to keep it alive every night when you're doing 8 a week, as you well know.
Oh yes, yeah. It was one of, again, growing up, having my mom and of course my father, who was like a Broadway royalty. I got to see Grease. I went opening night. I was a kid. I was a little kid, but I went opening night and saw, and I was just in. It was one of the reasons I wanted to go into the theater. I mean, Adrienne Barbeau and Barry. I mean, I remember seeing that show and going, "Oh my God, this is just," and because it was, and they'd bring out the microphones with the cords. It was like amazing.
The microphones were part of the choreography. We
Yeah.
swung between our legs, we swung them around. Actually, I have to tell you this. After Milos came to the show, he came with Baryshnikov.
Oh,
I saw the show, and I got in to see him a couple days later. And he said, "Trit, so nice to meet you." He said, you know, I saw you in Greece 2 nights ago, and in that show, you do something very few American actors do. You go completely overboard. I still don't know if it was a compliment or a criticism, but you know, it was pretty. I was pretty out there. I had a lot of fun.
Oh gosh. Okay, so I want to talk about you and I, and then we're going to get to your Milos performance. So you and I meet. My first show was the Pirates of Penzance.
Wow.
Yeah. Hello.
I've never known it. You were great.
I talk about this all the time because I never got to start the way most actors start in the ensemble and they move their way up. No, we're going to get to. I done a few television things and auditioned to replace Andy Gibb in the national tour. I got cast. I went with Jim Belushi for 3 months in San Francisco, and then they pulled me out and they put me in the Broadway company, and I met you.
You were
and
great.
I was a puppy dog. I followed you. I watched you. One day you said, "There we are. There we are."
Gorgeous young thing, you. Look at you.
Look at you. Look at all that flexibility in your black thigh-high boot.
Look at that lack of midriff.
Did you? I saw a bunch of photos of you, Tree. You shot on a real ship too when you did your photo session, didn't you?
Yeah, we went down to the 79th Street Boat Basin.
Oh, you did?
For some strange reason, Kevin and I, it was weird because Kevin was on the boat too. I think he was shooting stuff for the movie they were going to make of Pirates.
Oh.
But it was kind of weird for both of us. He's a very dear friend. For both of us to be on the boat at the same time. There's this wonderful shot of me, the salute.
Yeah.
Looking over at me like, I hope he's not better than I am. Which I'm not, by the way, by any means. We all we should be so lucky to get anywhere near Kevin's.
Oh my gosh. But you were amazed. That was a major time for you because it was also the time when Prince of the City came out, right? When you were doing that.
They said that the Prince of the City is now the King of the Pirates or something like that.
Yeah, it was a huge movie and starring in a Broadway show. And I want to talk about you and Kevin. So Rex Smith, who we're both dear friends of, and you and Kevin, and a lot of people won't know this, you and Kevin and Rex had a band, right? Called Crime and Punishment.
Crime and Punishment.
What was that? How was that?
The Public Theater for Joe Papp.
Really?
But when we did it, it was extraordinary. I mean, a lot of our friends in the business were like, all right, we'll go. But Kevin is an extraordinary pianist and a great performance. Rex is one of the great rockers of all time. And I sing a little. So
you sing a lot.
I got to tell you something. By the way, I'm going to jump in about something. When you said the only musical that's all country music, I just did a Christmas musical that Dolly Parton wrote all the songs for, starred in with myself and Christine Baranski, and it is a country western Christmas musical. So you have another one.
It's made its debut. Yes, we got to get it
to your list. Anyway, we all did this, and it went very well, and we did a couple performances, but it was really fun. We had Peter Riegert in the band. We had the Roach Sisters. It was an extraordinary.
And you just did cover tunes? It's just
all covers.
Oh,
we just picked our favorite songs. Rolling Stones, Huey Lewis and the News.
Oh, it's great.
A whole bunch of stuch. Elvis, bunch of.
And I bet you guys sold out everywhere you played, or at least everybody. I mean, it was packed. It had to be.
We believed in rehearsing. None of us wanted to look stupid, so we worked very hard to make it good, and it was very good. It was great fun.
On my 50th birthday, I rented out the Canyon Club, which is like a mini House of Blues in California. And Rex played, my brothers played, I played drums, and we did virtually this. Steve Lukather of Toto played. It was like this, and Rex is ridiculous. He can still sing his face off as a rock.
Oh no, he's great. He's great.
Okay, so I want to talk about Pirates. Like for me, like I said, was the ultimate experience, meeting you, getting to know you, watching you, and learning from you. But so you do Grease, and Milos Forman, the great film director Milos Forman, sees you and he casts you as Berger in the movie Hair.
Yep.
And the performance treat to this day, I told you today when we talked, it's an astounding performance you give. There you are with our dear friend Annie Golden.
Annie Golden. Beverly D'Angelo, John Savage. Great
Oh my
cast.
God. So tell us about that film and what it was for you.
Well, I knew when I was 16 years old, I had 3 8-track tapes. I think one of them was Montevanti, and the other was Hair. It was the original cast of Hair. I drove around in my mother's 65 convertible Mustang. I learned every word of the show. And the first Broadway show I ever went to was Hair. And I remember the introductory monologue by Berger, and it was Jerry Ragney doing it, who wrote the show. And I remember thinking, that guy is so brave and so unself-conscious. He's half naked. He's wearing barely a jock strap, and he's walking around the backs of people's seats in the theater. And I thought, my gosh, I could never do anything like that. 7 years later, I'm playing the part in the movie. But it was an extraordinary experience, and I knew that I was being handed one of the classic roles in a musical that basically, interestingly, La Mancha and Hair came out the same year, and they both basically turned Broadway, did a 180 and turned it on its back. I mean, it was completely different kind of Broadway. No one had ever seen anything like it before.
Yeah.
Except for maybe Superstar.
Right.
Which was more of a rock musical, which Hair is too. But I think that once I got it, we were working very hard. I was in the chorus, so I sang in the chorus when we put down those numbers. And Twyla worked us very, very hard. I don't think my audition for Twyla was really about dancing. It was about, would I quit? She made me do the same thing about 20 times.
You did.
No, I'm good. I can. So I think it was work. A lot of it had to do with work ethic. But I had to get past it was like a chamber of horrors of having to go past the writers and the musicians and Galt McDermott and Milos. It was a very tough, I think I auditioned 12 times. For the movie.
How long was the actual shoot? How long did you spend shooting the movie?
A year.
Oh,
we started in the fall. John was late because he was doing Deer Hunter. And so we lost the leaves in Central Park. So we had to wait. And then right after Christmas, we went out and shot all of the stuff out in Barstow, California, where we go to see John on the base. And then when the leaves came back, we re-upped again in New York around April and finished the film in the spring. So basically it was close to a year, 10 months.
I have so many parts in that movie that I just I've watched hundreds of times, but the ending, when John comes back to the base and you're gone and you're marching and they start, what's that song? The Flesh thing.
Flesh Failures.
Oh my gosh. It's like, it makes me cry. And they cut to you marching with those guys singing Manchester, England. And it's
By the way, I had to create kind of a bubble for myself because those guys were real National Guard guys.
Yeah.
And after we did the first take, they're all mumbling to each other. What is this guy doing? They couldn't see the cameras, All they heard was playback. They're like, why is this guy crying? What are we doing here? What is this? I had to sort of say, okay, I'm not going to think about the fact that I'm making a fool of myself in front of these soldiers. But
we're gonna show a little clip from you in Hair. But before we do that, we play a little game on this show, Treat. And the name of the game is called Remember the Lyric. This is a lyric.
I can't remember where I left my glasses this morning.
Well, we're gonna play. Trust me, I'm not expecting a lot, but who knows? So it is from Hair.
Okay.
It is the song that you sang in Hair on the big banquet table. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sing a lyric, and then I'll point to you. You sing one back to me, and I'll sing one back to you. We'll see how far we go. You remember?
Out of context? Okay.
Yes, out of context. Okay. So, and I don't even know what key this is in, but here we go. I got life, mother.
I got laughs, sister.
I got freedom, brother.
And I got good times, man.
I got crazy ways, daughter.
I got $1 million charm, cousin.
I got headaches and toothaches and bad times too.
Like you.
This is Treat Williams from Hair. Man, that's Charlotte Rae that you're
Oh, wait a
lifting.
minute. You're muted. Hold on. What did we do here? Mike?
Can you hear me?
Muted. I can't hear you now. What happened?
Let me pull you down and come back.
Let's see.
Hold on.
Patrick? Oh, now I got you.
Okay. Was that Charlotte Rae that you lifted up?
Yes.
It is Charlotte.
She actually, and that's unfortunate. I wish there was a director's cut because she sang My Conviction, which I adore. Which, as you remember in the show, was sang by a woman that revealed herself to be early before any transgender stuff had happened. They went all transgender. It was fantastic. And she sang it at the party, but unfortunately, it, like Frank Mills, didn't make the movie. But she did a great job.
Frank Mills, such a good song. You know, that scene. I mean, I remember in that scene, that must have been a hoot. We're going to put you on a table with a chandelier, and we're just going to let you have a great time.
Well, I got to tell you, unfortunately, in those days, focus was very difficult. And after a full day, 12-hour day of shooting that, Milos came to me the next morning and said, "Treat, I'm so sorry. It's out of focus. We got to do it again."
Oh, no.
We shot it again for 10 or 12 hours. And the next morning, Milos said, "Treat, I'm so sorry. It's out of focus again. We've got to do it a third day." So I did that song for probably close to 30 hours. Worth it. But it was a tough shoot.
Now, did you record everything first? Did you first you did. So you went in the studio first and recorded it.
But you know, here's the thing about the Dolly Parton movie I just did. It was very anxiety producing because we recorded before we ever rehearsed or blocked. When we recorded Hair, we had already pretty much been working with Twyla, so we knew what physically we were going to be doing. And it's much easier to get in front of a mic and sing something if you have an idea in your head. Mm-hmm. Is this going to be very physical? Should I, am I pushing? Is it bigger, smaller? Is this, so it was great to have been able to rehearse it before we put it down. So it was pretty straightforward.
Fantastic. Wow. What an amazing thing. If nothing else, you obviously amassed this ridiculous career, but what a moment in the beginning of your career to get to do that and to have that stand as something that Treat Williams did.
No, I have to tell you, I think we appreciate things more as we get older, and it's a great honor to have had the few things that I did that I'm very proud of. Maybe 5 or 6 films that I really love, and a couple of Broadway shows I did, particularly Pirates with you. You really appreciate those things and honor them as you get older and realize how lucky you were, to be in the right place at the right time, but also to be ready to do it too.
We have one of our wonderful board members, Danny Anderson, says, "Would Treat do a repeat of that table scene for Studio 10? That would be awesome." We'll add it to the little show that we're doing.
You'd have to buy me 10 pounds of Advil.
I want to talk about a movie that when it came out, we were doing Pirates together, and I couldn't believe that your performance in this film. And tell me about Prince of the City.
Well, Sydney had seen something in me, I guess, in hair.
Sidney Lumet.
Yeah, Sidney
Right.
Lumet. And I think he also said that Treat seems not to care what anybody thinks of him. And it was playing a guy who really brought down a lot of his friends, Bob Lucy. I don't know. His only concern was, did I have the gravitas to play the later scenes in the film? And I had to prove it to him in the audition process, which I did. And then we just got on with the process of making it. But I have to tell you, it was the last time. And I'd like, if I ever direct films, which I don't think I will, but I'd love to bring back the concept of rehearsing a film with the entire cast for a few days, as opposed to showing up and doing a scene with no rehearsal. And, you know, it's really good to hear and see a film being performed before you put it in front of a camera. And Sydney, we went down and had 3 weeks of rehearsals downtown at the Ukrainian Hall on 2nd Avenue.
And it's a true story, right, Treat?
To a degree, yeah. Bob
Yeah.
Lucy was part of SIU, the unit that were the narcotics unit, and they started, you know, taking bribes and taking money, when the feds went after them, Bob was the only one who said, "I'm going to confess. I'll wear a wire." He felt very badly about having done bad things, and he thought that he could get away with just himself, just he could get out of it, but he brought down his entire, you know, unit, and he was really a despised figure for the rest of his life by the New York City Police Department.
Well, we're going to show
a very nice guy, and he turned out to be a very good author ultimately.
Well, we're going to show a clip from it. I want to warn our audience, for younger people, there's a few F-bombs that are dropped in this scene. It's an incredible performance that you give.
The only time I've ever used the word.
I got it. Treat Williams, Prince of the City. Wow.
There you are. Now I've got to get you back on the sound again.
You'll come back. It'll come back. It's the band is a little. Do you hear us?
I'm not hearing you, Patrick. I don't know why that's happening.
It's okay. Can you hear me now?
Don't know quite what to do.
It's all right.
Why am I not hearing you?
He'll pull you off, and then he'll pull you back on. Can you hear me now? There you go. Do you hear me now?
No.
That's okay.
I cannot hear you, Patrick.
We'll get it. We'll figure it out. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, Treat, hold on. We're going to pull you off for a minute, and then we're going to pull you back on.
Oh, I had a feeling I'd do this.
There you go.
You still there?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here.
There we go. Sorry
there you are.
That. It mutes when you come back on. It mutes out. I don't know why.
It might be because of what's it called, William? The bandwidth. Something that I don't understand technology.
After I see the thing, when you come back on, you're muted, and
that performance, my friend, is extraordinary. I mean, it's an extraordinary performance. Anybody who hasn't seen Prince of the City, you have to go watch it. It is an incredible. Your work in that movie, dude, is amazing. Amazing.
Thank you, Patrick. Appreciate it. Proud of that one too.
Did you? What was it like working with Sidney Lumet?
Well, Sidney had been an actor. People don't know this. He took over for Brando in a play, when he was young. And he had always, and he did 60 live television plays. He was a theater guy at heart. He really understood breaking down a play, breaking down how the beats of a story, and breaking down characters. And he was a very good actor himself. So working with him was always, I just knew I could lean on him if I was, in some ways, sometimes I didn't know quite what to do. And if Sidney demonstrated, it's usually better than I could do it. And I would just imitate what Sidney did. And he was a really lovely, wonderful man. I mean, he came out of the gate with 12 Angry Men. Fonda hired him when he was about 30 years old. And that was that. And he probably had one of the greatest bodies of work of any American director ever. But he was a lovely, lovely man who cared about the work. I remember the one thing that really defines Sidney is he was being interviewed late in his life before he got sick. And a guy said, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want to be remembered for? And Sidney said, oh, I don't give a shit. It's not going to matter. I'll be dead. That was Sidney.
Like you said, you'd watch him and you'd just imitate him. I'm stealing that too from Sidney Lumet.
Oh, it's the best line. That should be on my gravestone. I just don't care,
So Caroline Payton was my Mabel in she lives here in Tennessee in Pirates of Penzance on the national tour, and she just said, "Hey, Patrick and Treat." Those
I
are the
saw
good days.
that. I saw that.
So good to see her.
Hi,
I want to go back. I want to go back to you. You mentioned this film because we have another clip of you that is just, I mean, the amazing thing about you, my friend, is as good an actor as you are, as good a musical performer as you are, you truly have done everything. You do comedy, you can sing, you can dance, you do serious, you do heavy, you do emotional. I have it all here in clips. So our audience, you've had this crazy, insane, remarkable career. Do you ever look up and go, "Thank you, God"? I can't believe.
Yes, I do. But the funny thing is that when I was training, I was listening to Shakespeare albums of English actors. I wanted to be a stage actor. I wanted to be an actor who put on fake noses and transformed myself into Richard III. And then the next night I'd be doing the young lead in a light musical. That to me was what you did.
Right.
And I got to New York and all these people were like, I don't want to be in the theater. I want to be in movies. And I was like, I don't think I'll ever be in a movie. I just want to, I'd like to get into Yale Rep, and that would be like the highest point of my career. So I really had a low bar in terms of I just kept trying to, and I think the biggest battle really for all those of us who look like normal guys was trying to prove to people that you are actually a character actor when you look like a leading man.
Right.
That was the most difficult thing, was to fight for those roles where you transformed yourself.
Right. And they're always the meatiest. And it's funny you're saying about Shakespeare. I had on the show last week Denise Hicks, who is the artistic director for the Shakespeare Festival here. Now that she knows that you've done Shakespeare, you will be getting a call from them too to come here and do some Shakespeare.
I'll come. I mean, you and we have our secret thing we're going to work on.
Yes, we do. So one of your first movies, obviously even prior to Hair, was a movie called The Ritz. Now tell us about The Ritz. What is The Ritz about?
The Ritz is about a man who is running away from his brother-in-law who's trying to kill him. His brother-in-law is in the mafia, and his father's dying words are, "Get Proclo." And so Jack Weston plays Proclo and Jerry Stiller plays the mafioso. And so Jack goes to hide in what he thinks is a YMCA, and Jerry Stiller goes to catch him. It's not a YMCA, it's a gay bathhouse. And hence that's where the story sort of, and Rita Moreno plays the sort of the Hispanic Bette Midler performer in the bathhouse.
And
but basically,
I'm sorry, and it was a play first before it was a movie, right?
It was a play on Broadway. It was a big hit. Terrence McNally wrote it, and
right.
it was quite a hit. And then Richard Lester, who directed both Beatles movies, decided that he would take it on. And so the whole cast was flown there. I took over for an actor who left it. So the only person Richard Lester got to work with who wanted to learn stuff and try stuff out was me. Everybody else was like, "Don't touch anything. All my stuff is working. I don't want. Don't direct me."
I did it on Broadway. I'm doing exactly like this.
I know where my laughs are. Just don't get in the way. I was like, let's find this thing. So Richard and I had a blast. I found well, you'll see. I think you're going to pick the scene we're
gonna pick your initials, your opening scene. I
had to work very hard to get the masculinity of the part, but I think we finally found it.
Yes, and our viewers will see. This is Treat Williams from The Ritz. It's great. It's great. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I can. Great. That is hysterical. And I know you. This whole bit was sliding down the thing with the counter. I know that's you coming up with shtick.
You missed the door bit. The door slammed.
I know he slammed.
But the door bit came from being a kid, being homesick, and watching nothing but Channel 9, watching Laurel and Hardy and Abbott and Costello. I stole thousands of things that those guys had done.
Well, the whole notion that this guy who's like, Humphrey Bogart, and he's got the trench coat on and the hat, and he's got a cigarette, right? And you see him through the whole beginning of the video stalking this place, and he comes up and goes, "Hi, it's just hysterical to me." It kills me. Oh, every time. Peter Trencher says, "Hey, Treat, still
Hey,
waiting for
Peter,
you
how are
to
you,
have your
man?
mantra."
Hey, guess what? We're talking about it. Don't worry.
Yes, we are, sir. Yes, we are.
We're working on it.
So, not a lot of people know this. I know this, and I think it's a perfect segue actually coming from the Ritz. I was rehearsing a show at 890 Studios that turned out to be the first sort of kind of, they call them the jukebox musicals. If you don't count Ain't Misbehavin', Leader of the Pack was like the first of that. Ellie Greenwich, Jeff Barry, and all of their catalog of music. Be My Baby, it's where I worked with Andy Golden again. Anyway, we were at 890 Studios, and you were there rehearsing a musical. And I know so much about this. Janet Jones was in that company. Jerry Mitchell was in that company. And Michael Bennett was directing. It was a show called Scandal.
Yep.
And it was, I want you to tell us about it, because it's not so few people know. It was, I remember it was Scandal. Was it called the Sex Musical? Is that what they were trying to do?
You know who wrote the music for it?
Who?
Jimmy Webb.
Oh my gosh, that's right. That's right. Jimmy Webb. That's right. Tell us about that experience.
Well, it was great. I mean, Michael owned the building. I had a gym there. I would, when the actors were the dancers working out, I would work out in the gym. And, Swoozie and I loved her. David Rashi was in it, who's a wonderful actor, great actor, very funny man. And we were really getting it up on its feet. And then Michael just kind of, all of a sudden, he wasn't there. And we never got it. We just couldn't get an answer. We just said, we're on hiatus for a couple of weeks. And it turned out that Michael was one of the first guys to get AIDS. Mm-hmm. And in those days, when you got it, it was violent and fast. And we lost him quite quickly. But the experience of it was, I got to work with Michael Bennett, and I loved him. He was a lovely, sweet guy. And, my friend Wayne Salento had starred in a chorus line. A lot of my friends had been in a chorus line.
Yeah.
And actually, people don't know this, but Michael's brother was my stage manager in the Sisters
Frank.
Musical.
Yeah, sure.
They had different names. Michael's name was I think a stage name. It was an Italian name. They were Italians.
Yeah.
But it was a great experience. I'm sorry that that it didn't go further and Michael passed. But
what was the premise?
It was just about how difficult marriages are.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's about Susie and I trying to figure out how to stay together, how to remain together in a very wild, crazy, sexually open time. I think it
was so interesting.
Maybe Michael was using his own, using it as
his own
life.
Life experiences. I remember going out in the hallway, and there was, Wayne Gretzky's now wife and has been for Janet Jones, who's was an incredible dancer, and of course the great choreographer and director Jerry Mitchell. And these kids were dancers. I mean, they were just out there.
Jerry was just assisting at the time. Michael was still choreographing.
Yeah.
Working on stuff. And Bob Aviation, his wonderful partner in theater, was there. And, it was just, I was just I just was back at 890 in December working on, believe it or not, a musical version of Days of Wine and Roses with Kelly O'Hara and Brian Darcy James.
Oh, nice. Kelly is on the show next week.
I love Kelly.
She's phenomenal.
I didn't have much to do. So I just sit back and listen to those two sing. I could have done that for 6 months. The two of the most beautiful voices I have ever heard.
Incredible. Incredible. Brian was my brother David's understudy. When Sean and David did Blood Brothers on Broadway, Brian was his understudy. And every time Brian went on, I told David, don't come back to the show. He's really good.
And also one of the nicest men. But that was with, believe it or not, that show has been written by another. When you talk about country music, I was thinking about that. Floyd Collins was written by Adam Giddle, and Adam wrote the music for this, and he wrote the music for Light in the Piazza. So I was in very good company,
Oh, it's great.
and it was really fun to be a part of this.
Tell me
But
about
back at 890 is just the coolest
Oh,
thing.
it's so I'd love to go back there. There's so much history. Now, does Bob still own it? No, he doesn't.
I don't know. There's a lot of ballet going on there. A lot of the
Well, it's
kids,
ABT is there, right?
yeah, a lot of the kids come in. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but it was really. It's always great to go back down there. I rehearsed, I don't know, 3 or 4 Broadway shows that I did. Once in a lifetime. John Lithgow, we rehearsed down there. Whole bunch of stuff.
Wait, bring that up. Trish, my
Raymond?
wife wants to say hello. That's my wife. That's my wife, Treat.
Hi, Melissa.
She says, when I was on Fame, my friend who was on the show with me let go to do Scandal, Trish Ramish.
Yes, we talked just last week. She's
awesome.
She's a great old friend. Great friend.
Tell me about you. You have been an aviator for 40 years, more?
Believe it or not, 50.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I have never had the opportunity, although I'm now going to get it. I'm going up in a plane with you. I can't wait because we are talking about this project. I'm going to come to Vermont. You're going to come here. Tell me, this is a good question. What famous people have you had in that plane?
I flew Bob De Niro and Chris Walken to Cuba for a film festival. I flew Rex from California to New York. Rex Smith.
California to New York?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
And I had orange trees in the back that I'd purchased and I forgot about it. And I said, Rex, you want to get weightless? And he said, yeah, sure. So I did what's called the parabolic curve. And when I pushed and we went weightless, every bit of dirt in those plants engulfed us in the plane. Oh gosh, Kevin Kline's flown with me, Harvey Keitel,
wow,
Milos, gosh, I mean, just about anybody and everybody.
What does flying do for you and given you?
I think that it's something that it's a skill you have, and when you fly on a rainy day or a weather day from point A to point B, and you do it safely and authoritatively, with the skill that you've developed, and you've worked very hard at being safe and having that skill, no one can give you a review that says, you could do a movie or a play and you get a review that says you stank, and you say, no, I didn't stink. That's one opinion. Mm-hmm. But when you fly an airplane, it's really a scientific thing. You either did it well or you didn't. And it's pretty obvious when you don't. But I think that's part of it. It's a skill that I take great pride in, that has nothing to do with being creative. It has to do with really applying yourself to an extraordinary gift that we have to be able to take something and leave the ground. I'm very honored. And I fly an airplane that all the pilots, I owned an airplane that all the World War II pilots trained in and flew before they flew all the fighter planes, called a T-6. And now I have a Cub, which is the plane that they flew before they got in the T-6. So every time I fly, it's a little bit of history too.
Well, I can't wait to go up in a plane with you.
You'll love it.
I can't wait. I want to show one more clip.
Uh-oh.
Because this performance, you did a series for what, 4 years, Everwood?
Yeah.
And you got an Emmy nomination for this show.
Yeah, 2 Screen Actors Guild Awards. The Emmy nomination was for The Late Shift when I played Mike Ovitz.
Oh, that's right, Mike, the famous CIA agent. Anyway, this is an extraordinary scene. Tell us what's happening in this scene.
Andy Brown, his wife has died suddenly in an accident. He's a very successful brain surgeon in New York, and he decides to just throw everything out and move his 2 young children out to a small town in Colorado in the mountains and open a free clinic. His children hate him for it. It's not going well. He is he's seeing his wife in visions. He thinks he's going a little nuts, and he's losing control of his life. It's not working out the way he wanted, and he's doing something he's never had to do. He's asking for help.
Treat Williams, Everwood. Bravo.
Oh,
bravo.
Now you're hold on. You're silent again.
It's okay.
I haven't touched anything. There you are. You're back. There we go.
Yeah. Bravo, man. Wow. Wow. Just extraordinary. Yeah.
Right. I'll tell you what, Greg Berlanti, It's all Greg Berlanti. He's he's created so many wonderful shows on television, but he is really a gifted man, and I'm very grateful to him and the cast for having been in that extraordinary show.
Oh, so good. So
what a great
good.
honor that was.
So I can't, I mean, we got to show just, like I said, just a splinter of your work, which is extraordinary.
Well, it was a nice splinter that you showed, and I'm grateful. Thank you.
Universal. I mean, what you can do, it's actually, there's nothing you can't do. We play one other game on this show. Oh, there's Elizabeth says, I love Everwood. We call it, you become the host for one question. You get to ask me anything you want.
Boy, I've got so many. That's tough, Patrick. Can we now, in this latter part of our lives, become the friends that we can be, because we went off in different directions after Pirates, and I love so much working with you? Can we become good friends?
Oh, God. It's just boldly with a big exclamation point. Yes. So much, my friend.
There's my question.
Oh, what a great question.
Well,
and you're so smart. It's off the top of your head. We have something, I won't talk about it, that you and I are working on here for Studio Tenn. Just to talk to you, Treat. I told you this. I was so looking forward just to seeing you and talking to you. You're somebody that I look up to, still look up to.
Thank you, Pat.
You're a fine man. Tell me quickly just about your two children.
Gil is goodness, everything. Gil is 27. He directed his first full-length film. It's a film about beatboxers that he lived with them for a year and then made a movie about them they're the world champions in the United States, and they went to Europe for a competition, and he just got to know them. And it's really a little touch of Rent in the sense that they're young people in a new art form, and that art form is yet to sort of take hold. So it's very difficult for them. And Gil, I think, captured that beautifully in his movie. He's also a songwriter and has a beautiful voice, and a screenwriter working on a film with a friend of his. Eleanor is 21. She's heading off to do some more college up at UVM, University of Vermont. And she has an extraordinary singing voice. She just sold her first painting online. I get two very creative kids, and it's really been, I must say that because of COVID, these last 4 months of being in the same place, you worry, are we all going to get along? Will we kill each other? And it's actually been extraordinary to get to know these people in a much more intimate way, who I really adore and find that I really enjoy their company. So they're both extraordinary kids.
Well, now there's just another reason for us to be really good friends, because our children are almost the same age. My two boys, both musicians, both very creative people. And Melissa and I have been married 27 years. So we now have to get the Williams and the Cassidys.
We got you by 5. We're going 32.
I love you. I thank you so much.
I can't wait to regain, we're going to sing through Pirates.
we will do it all. We will do it all. I will be in touch with you so soon. Thank you for being a part of this. It was wonderful for us, and wonderful for me to just see you.
It's an honor, and I'm very proud of what you've done with your life and where you are right now. Very proud.
Thanks, pal. I'll be in touch.
Okay, love you.
Love you too, pal.
Bye, Patrick.
True Williams, man. What an extraordinary guest. Oh God. Well, that is our show for tonight. And I thank you so much for the comments everybody wrote in. I know you guys were excited. We saw a lot of clips tonight. I loved seeing Caroline Payton, who I know lives here in Tennessee, talk to us. And we've got, like I say every week at the end, we survive on performing, and we survive on donations. And right now we can't perform right now. So at the bottom of your screen, you can click on to donate and do it to Studio Tenn Talks. The number is there as well. That's how you support us, and you have been supporting us, and continue, please, because we are going to come out of this. We are starting to come out of it. We've got some incredible things planned. Again, I said August 27th. We have the virtual variety show. Thank you, Lynn. So nice to see you. What a lovely evening. What a gift for us he is. I agree. Mary, is it Mary Ann? Great evening. Thank you. And yeah. So get involved, donate, keep us going, because we've got other stuff in store. I always end with a goodbye song, and tonight I'm going to try this. I've been listening to this song. I fell in love with this from Catch Me If You Can, and it goes like this. Goodbye, goodbye to all the hopes and dreams. Goodbye. Good night, everyone.